Oh, hey! It's Wolf Brother, aka Nightman. It's good to see you guys again, and I hope you found it both interesting and informative. That is the speech that I gave earlier. And I also think it can be very fun and would encourage everyone out there to be as eccentric as possible. Because why? Well, eccentric people are interesting. And if you don't believe me, you can always ask Lady Gaga. And Lady Gaga will tell you that when you are being your true self, and when you choose to be eccentric, that it is very fulfilling. Never hide your true self. Always be an individual, and be proud of being an individual. And I was just thinking too, that isn't Elton John one of the most amazing, what a sense of fashion he has. And I was thinking too, these are interesting. I hope you've been enjoying my pictographs, my hieroglyphic symbols. And I hope this has all been educational, both educational and informative. So, once more, I'm going into some preliminary stuff before I launch into a real and actual plan on how to better the world. Better Canada, America, everyone, everywhere. All of us have it in us to spread love, and all of us should share our passions, our hobbies, our enthusiasms, and if you have things to say, you should always speak your mind. There's never anything wrong with speaking your mind, and always speak truths to people, and always express yourself, never repress yourself. Remember that, everybody. Now, let's go back to where we are right now as a race. Now we're going to go from metaphysical, theological, philosophical, and scientific lessons to getting a little bit into economics and history. So these are the great ages in the evolution of man, right here. Man and different ages that I constructed this. It represents where we came from and where we're going. This is us as hunter-gatherers. Long ago, we were very connected with the land, living off the land, intimately connected with every form of life, animal and plant on the planet. And we were hunter-gatherers. We went around hunting and gathering food. After that, there was the advent of agriculture. This helped to free up man and also helped us to live better lives, and no longer did we have to worry as much about famine. Agricultural shift was one of the biggest forces on the planet. Other than the rival of us, we were definitely a big force. And when we started this agricultural revolution is something that really started to alter and even destroy, of course, much of the planet, but really alter the planet. From there we went to mercantile city-states. This was the rise of cities. Agriculture brought that on, and we had a kind of a mercantile class, and trade opened up. Then from there we went to nations, the founding of nations. From there we went into an industrial age. This caused all of this had already caused massive impacts, the rise of city-states and the rise of nations. But when the Industrial Revolution hit, bang, look out, big time change, and very destructive for the planet. But now we are in a new age, and this age is based upon information. This is a technological, information-based age that we're in, which is something else I'm going to talk about in speaking about my plan for a better world. Whoop. These are economies and as they relate to technologies, and this is a history. We went from a steam-powered economy all the way up to where we are now, which is high-tech. So we started with steam power, then electric or automotive. This was the time of assembly with cars and things. Then there were high-tech, which was computers and the beginning of the web, World Wide Web, and all kinds of different technologies. And the next or fourth big phase. And once more, these are ideas that I'm relating, things that I learned from other people. But the next big age is going to be artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, telecommunications, and biotechnology. And all of these are probably going to have a massive impact on everything. All these technologies combined, they're already causing upheaval, and we're due for a great shift, a technological shift. All of these technologies are very powerful. All technologies are, in fact, double-edged swords that can be used for good or bad. But the types of technologies that are breaking out on the planet now are bringing us more information and more consciousness than has ever been achieved in the history of the human race. Isn't that exciting? We live in the most exciting time imaginable. These are the big technologies of the future: genetics, nanotechnology, and robotics, GNR. Don't you just love Guns N' Roses? Rocking out to Guns N' Roses and AC/DC, but this is not actually Guns N' Roses, this is genetics, nanotechnology, and robotics. Genetics and nanotechnology and robotics are massively powerful technologies that are going to change everything. The upcoming decades. Right now we are in a decade of what is called biotechnology, everything related to genetics and being able to create organs and advancing with stem cell research and everything to do with biotech. Following behind though, of course, is robotics, but the next big decade will probably be the nanotech decade. And the next decade, what we need to do is create an infrastructure for a hydrogen-based economy. I very strongly believe in this. With a hydrogen-based economy, you will not have all the greenhouse gas emissions and pollution that's associated right now with where we are. So we want to get into a hydrogen-based economy using all kinds of technologies, especially renewable technologies like solar technologies. Nanotech's going to help advance our solar technology. And if we can get all the power from the sun, well, that's a limitless source of energy. Likewise, with a hydrogen-based economy, we may have the ability to go from fission, which is nuclear power, to fusion, which doesn't create any nuclear waste, but that's harnessing the power of the sun. That's the next decade. This is types of civilizations. There's type 0 to 4. Where we are right now is actually a type 0 civilization, because our civilization up till now is, and still is, very much based on fossil fuels and non-renewable resources, but that can have polluting effects and detrimental, or making detrimental changes, and have made detrimental changes to the planet. But what we want to achieve is getting to a planetary civilization, and that's where we're heading right now through our technologies, especially the information-based technologies. So the planet's going through this massive change in technology, but with the rise of the World Wide Web and telecommunications and cell phones and that types of communication and exchange of knowledge and information, we are heading toward a planetary kind of civilization. There's also, beyond that, type 2, which is stellar. This is harnessing the power of the sun. An example of a stellar civilization, of course, would be basically kind of what you see in, I guess, a Flash Gordon movie. From there, we're going to go to a galactic, which is basically harnessing the power of the galaxy and stuff. Oh, going back to the stellar or sun, this is Star Trek. Type 3, which is galactic, would be like Star Wars. Then you have Type 4, which is intergalactic, and that's harnessing dark energy. This would make someone like a god. If we met a being like this, like Q from Star Trek, it would be a massively powerful alien race, a being probably. To be able to go to Type 4 would be a massively advanced. Oh, this is where we are presently then. So we're in a fossil fuel economy, but making a transition toward a planetary or Type 1 civilization.